Hey everyone, I have, this works? Yeah. How? Don't start the time yet. Okay, I get it. I'm not going to use the pointer, okay, because I don't know that's too high technology. Okay, a few notes on the presentation. First of all, you will see that Pinus Spinacers is not written in italics because I love this font, and this font doesn't allow to write in italics, so these presentations you are going to see each time the scientific name of Pinus Spinacer not written in italics. Second one, I didn't make this work alone. So Paco, if you are watching this on TV, I'm sorry. A lot of people are working on this project. Manu, David, both Pacos, and me, and well, other people. Okay, you can start with the time. This work is named Integration of Remote Sensing and Machine Learning to provide spatial explicit tree lists for Pinus spinacers. Okay, I'm going to explain these terms during the presentation, so don't worry, don't be afraid. And I think it's nice to begin with the part one, that is the need. This is the introduction, why we need this work. The thing is that we already have good forest simulations models. This is for Spain. We have the CIMAN4 and the MEDFATE. The former is an empirical simulator models, and the second one is a process model simulator. And the thing is that these platforms need input data, okay? And we had very good input data in Spain because we had the NFI. But to use all this information in all the extension, we need tree lists for all the extension, okay? We need a wall-to-wall area of the input data, or tree lists. You may be wondering what are tree lists. Tree lists, in fact, you already know what are they, because, for instance, Natalia showed in her presentation tree lists from the NFI. Tree lists are basically the tables that comes out from the National Forest Inventory. It's only a fancy name, an American name, and we can see a very simple example here. The tree list must include a prototype tree, which is each of the rows. We can see here two plots. The A plot has 4 trees, the B plot has 2 trees, and we have some forest attributes, for instance, the DBH and the volume here, and it's important to have the expansion factor, that is basically the number of trees that each prototype tree represents on a per unit area basis, okay? So this is basically the first tree represents 14 trees per hectare. And these tree lists are very versatile because they can be aggregated at different levels, okay? So for instance, we have first an aggregation at aggregation level 1, which is diameter classes that Natalia, for instance, showed how she aggregated in the dashboard data at diameter classes, and we, for instance, can aggregate this as totals. That is very, very, very common. I'm sure that most of you have seen this before. The thing is that we don't have spatially explicit tree lists for all Spain, okay? Until now, that we are working on that. And by the way, spatially explicit means basically a tree list per pixel. That is, we're working on grids or pixels. We are working with rasters, okay? And in each pixel, we are going to have a tree list. This is basically, okay, I'm going to tell you in a few minutes. So part 2, objective. We are trying to develop and compare different KNN imputation models to obtain spatially explicit or forest descriptors data for Pinus spinacer in Castilla y León. In other words, we are trying to expand the NFI to the whole area of study in a wall-to-wall pseudo-census. This is very important and is very relevant because I want to insist with this. We are going to have a model version of the NFI on each pixel of all the extension. First, we are working for Pinus spinacer in Castilla y León, but we are going to have this in all Spain, hopefully, in a couple of years. So, the study area. We are working on the east of Castilla y León, on the provinces of Burgos, Soria, and Segovia, on Pinus spinacer. And we use the Spanish forest map to filter the NFIA plots. And we got starting from more than 6,000 polygons, 787 plots of the NFI, the National Forest Inventory, and we have a total of 1,070,000 more than hectares of Pinus pinaster. So, part 3, the how. How are we going to do this? We will be working the last year and this year on getting predictors data on all the grid of Spain. We have almost all these predictors for all Spain. We have a lot of predictors, and we separate them in 4 predictor sets. We have the topographic, climatic, optical, from Landsat, mainly from they're derived from the NDVI, and the land render. We use the land render to identify different changes on the pixels, and we got a lot of information from LiDAR from the PENOA 2 mission. And after removing variables that were highly correlated and removing 0 variables, we got a total of 84 predictors that we used to fit the models. And relevant concept and definitions. The model that we used was the KNN imputation algorithm. The KNN imputation algorithm is an algorithm that is used to get missing data from different data sets. In this case, we don't have actually missing data. We have no data in pixels where we don't have measures of the National Forest Inventory, but we are imputing data to get data from those pixels. And these models are multivariate, so we are trying to predict different variables at once. We are not just making this model for one variable, as could be, for instance, the volume or the biomass. We are getting a prediction to all the variables at once, okay? So the idea is to get like 2 types of models. The first one is to get, for instance, per pixel, the volume, the biomass, the number of trees, and the basal area. Or for instance, we could get the volume at different diametric classes. And to measure the performance of these models, as they are multidimensional models, we need to use a distance measurement. The one that is used is a Mahalanobis distance. It's a distance that is used in non-Euclidean spaces, so that's why we use this distance and another distance of the Euclidean spaces, like could be, for instance, the Manhattan distance. And also, we use 2 distances to find neighbors. In this case, we use the most similar neighbor and the random forest algorithms to find the distance between neighbors, okay? This is basically how we find the most similar pixel from the 700, more than 700 plots of the the National Forest Inventory. How do we find the best pixel that is the most similar? That's the nearest neighbor. As we have 84 final predictors, we need also a method to select variables, because we have a lot of variables. So my thesis director, Paco, developed an ad hoc genetic algorithm to do this, and we are trying to use it to get the best predictors for each model. And genetic algorithms, if you didn't hear about it, are algorithms that try to simulate the natural selection process, and it's a meta-heuristic method to find the best and the best option when you have a very high number of options. In this case, the options are all the combinations of possible predictors to fit the models. And finally, once we got the best models, we use overall performance fitness indicators that most of you must know, like the square error, the RMSI, and the bias. To summarize, we are going to get 2 multivariate models. The first one, we are trying to predict the biomass, the volume, the number of trees at the basal area. And with the second model, we are going to try to predict the at release in diametric classes, that is the volume, but at the 4 different diameter classes. And finally, we are going to compare with the univariate model, that is, for instance, using the different predictors to predict, for instance, the biomass. We are going to compare the biomass as an individual model, and also we are going to use the biomass compared in a multidimensional model. Okay, the grand finale, also known as results. First, comparison of models. In this case, we can see the 3 models per variable. Above all, we have the multidimensional model for all variables. Okay, the first one is a multidimensional model that predicts biomass above basal area, number of trees, and volume. And below we have each of the variables predicted by the individual models. And we can see that the Mahalanobis distance is better as smaller, okay? When it's smaller, it's better. So we can see that the individual models are in fact better, but the distance is not so long. And we also can see the 3 neighbors, okay? The left is a model with just 1 neighbor. In the middle, we can see the model with 2 neighbors, and at the right, we can see the model with 3 neighbors. And also here we have the comparison with each of the variables, okay, that are each of the rows, and the performance in the multivariate models that are the left plots, and in the right we can see the prediction of the variables in the univariate models. And we can see that actually the multivariate models are pretty good. Okay, once we had the imputation models, we tested with a forest of Pinus spinaster in Soria, it's Matas deluvia, and we can see here that we have a raster of the forest, and with all the results of each variable. And some take-home messages. We use very complex models to get wall-to-wall forest descriptors that may be as totals or as diameter classes. And that's all. Be good.